All right, guys, welcome back to the Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast, episode 246. Is that what we said?
Yeah.
I'm Rick Shiels, here with co-host Guy. How are you, pal? Are you good?
You know what? In some ways, you've got an incredible memory. You'll remember a golf hole from a course you played 7 years ago and where you hit your golf ball. But you've also got the memory of a goldfish sometimes, I feel like.
I tell you what, I'm also incredible at remembering codes to get in places.
Right.
I'm incredible at remembering hotel rooms that I'm staying at. Like, I could literally be in the hotel for 2 minutes, go to the room, go back down, go to the bar or whatever. What's your hotel room?
212.
Instantly.
But you know what's weird? I think our memories are a program that as soon as you leave that hotel and a few hours have passed, it's gone again.
Yeah.
Because it's like you don't need it. Gone.
No,
done.
Exactly. But yeah, for podcast episodes, that's one I struggle to remember because we've made so many fantastic episodes.
It is a lot, and it's 246. And that's probably, if not bang on, 246 hours worth of content, 10 days of our lives.
Should we just do 4 more?
Yeah, and then quit.
Four
May
more
as well.
and call it a day.
I'd like that.
It's been a good ride. It's been
We're
a
here
good
for
ride.
1,000. We'll quit on 1,000.
Just a quick bit of housekeeping. Last week, I had a bit of a manic week. I think we did mention that we would struggle to do a podcast early last week because one, it was Bank Holiday Monday. 2, we knew we had a lot of filming going on. So we didn't release a podcast on the Tuesday, which we normally do, religiously. However, we backed it up with an absolute banger from Justin Rose on Friday. So this week, normal service will be resumed. You'll have your podcast on a Tuesday, Clubhouse episode on the Friday, and then we'll get back. It's just there's 2 bank holidays in the month of May.
Yeah, I think
which
as well,
mess things up a little bit, certainly here in the UK.
Correct. I enjoy it. You as an employer don't. But I think we've said this before. The goal, and not even the goal, the objective, what we do is 2 podcasts a week, Tuesday, Friday. On the weeks where there isn't one, there's a reason why, and it's not like, oh, we've sacked it off and it's not happening anymore. It's just that there's something logistically why. And we'll make up for it and we'll come bringing flowers to our spouses, aka the audience, grovelling. They will be from the petrol station last minute, admittedly.
Obviously.
But we'll say our sorries, we'll give our apologies. But yeah, you are right. We didn't do that.
Petrol station last minute. I like that analogy.
We did have Justin Rose on. And before the podcast with Justin Rose, and by the way, if you haven't listened to that podcast yet, you need to, because it was brilliant. He is one of my favourite golfers ever.
Genuinely, it was hard. I just wish we had another half an hour with him.
I agree, but that made me want more. It left me wanting more.
So Justin was fantastic with his time. We teed off super early last Thursday. Yeah, last Thursday down at Northants Golf Club. And we did 18 holes, a 10-shot challenge, which will be coming to the channel very, very soon. I think we've mentioned this a few times in podcast episodes at the moment. We're really far ahead with content at the moment. Like, we've got content we filmed that's not going to be going out till August. Wow. So we are going to reshuffle things, get the Justin Rose video out a little bit sooner, but expect it in the next few weeks, certainly not this week. But yeah, we've done the 18 holes. Justin had commitments in the afternoon. We had to grab some lunch. So we actually only managed to sit down with Justin for 30 minutes. But yeah, I felt like we did actually cover a hell of a lot in that 30-minute window.
Well, what was interesting, we did only sit with him for 30 minutes for the podcast, but obviously we had loads of time with him before having food and whatever. Oh, no, food was after, wasn't it? But that would have been time for a podcast. We all had to eat.
One of my really good friends texted me on Sunday, said, I need to know, I'm desperate to know, what did Justin Rose order for food?
Oh, because we said, didn't we?
Yeah, and I must have, at the time, I was thinking, what's he on about? Why has he asked that? And I realised we actually talked about it in the podcast. Yeah. So there was loads of us. We had 3 cameramen, me and Guy, Paul and his manager in the Justin Rose suite at Northants. And Justin went to town. He ordered pizzas, actual beef burgers, chicken burgers.
Too many chips.
Did you notice as well? Fat chips and thin chips.
Justin Rose talking about.
So he literally had every base covered. What's the other thing I noticed that I was very, very impressed with?
The sauces.
A massive container. I mean, beautifully presented of tomato ketchup.
He had the way he ordered that food was a very masculine energy. We all sat there dilly-dally looking at the menu and I've got this. We'll order 3 burgers. And it was, I felt safe.
Part to the chef, can you cut the burgers in half so we can, I was thinking, I might be
It's
sharing.
not his first rodeo, is it?
I'm going to be sharing a burger and potentially some pizza with Justin Rose. Olympic gold medalist, US Open winner, and definitely Ryder Cup legend, future Ryder Cup captain. And as far as I'm aware, he now passes that test.
He does, absolutely.
He's allowed to now become a Ryder Cup captain.
Correct. Because if he's got that energy and that control and that leadership, then absolutely. But what I also think is, knowing what you're like, 100% there'll be a time in the future where we'll go to a golf club or you'll be out for food and you'll copy that tactic. Yeah. You'll go, what we having? Everyone's dilly-dallying. No, right, okay, I'm going to sort this. We'll have 3 of them, 2 of them, sauces, and you'll be like, yeah, that was a power move.
I copied that from Rosie.
Yeah.
You know what, though? We didn't say it in the podcast. I could imagine him being the next pick after Luke Donald.
Potentially, yeah.
Now, I didn't want to say that in front of him because I think he kind of got the vibe, and he still very much feels like he's going to win tournaments, win majors. He does. And the way he played, honestly, last week was nothing short of miraculous. Considering in his own account, he didn't play ridiculous, but anyway, I don't want to spoil it too much. But after Luke Donald, once now, unless this ban's going to be lifted from Poulter, Westwood, Henrik Stenson, I can't see that taking place. I feel like Justin Rose is going to be the next pick for a Ryder Cup captain after Luke Donald. The
only thing I would say about Justin Rose, something that I didn't really think of until actually being with him beforehand, is actually how young he still is. Because in my head, I would put him, and I'd almost put like Justin Rose, Lee Westwood, and Poulter in that same bracket. But Rosie is actually, and Rosie's what I call him now, by the way. He's actually 8 years younger than Lee Westwood. He's only 43. But because he's been around since he was 17, it feels like it doesn't look old, obviously, but he feels so much older. But whether he is genuinely thinking, well, I can comfortably be competitive on 50.
I was Luke Donald.
Luke Donald, I think he'll be
Luke Donald looks younger.
I think Luke Donald will be probably, he's 46, so he's 3 years older than...
But that's what Justin I'm saying. Rose. Like, I think in 3 or 4 years' time, potentially.
Surprised.
Moving on very nicely from Justin Rose, someone who he spoke very, very highly of, his partner at the Ryder Cup, someone who he said he actually took under his wing for that Ryder Cup, and he went on to win his first ever PGA Tour event this week at the Canadian Open, Bob MacIntyre.
Yeah.
And what an incredible story as well. I mean, Bob has, I think he's a character. I mean, I'd love to get him on the podcast and on the channel. He's a character that I've found to be quite fascinating. Kind of come onto the scene a little bit, kind of somewhat under the radar. He's been performing really, really well. His golf game's sensational. He obviously had a very close call against Rory McIlroy last year at the Scottish Open when at the Renaissance, where he made an incredible birdie and then forcing McIlroy to go birdie 17, birdie 18 to win. But I feel like his presence on the Ryder Cup team elevated his status. He's now moved to PGA Tour. He's now living in Orlando. He's talked quite openly over the last few weeks and months how he's really struggled living in America, how he's not been enjoying it, how he's been coming home as much as he can. He gets very, very, very homesick. And the fact that this week a fascinating story that he had his dad on the bag for the first ever time. His dad, who taught him how to play golf, who brought him up knowing that Bob could potentially be, a superstar in the future. And a bit of luck, really, how his dad ended up being on the bag.
I don't actually know the reason why that was.
So he's been working with a couple of different caddies over the last 6 months, a year. And one was called Scott Carmichael, who he'd been working with up until the US was it US Open last, wasn't it? No, US PGA. And Scott had a family wedding, so he couldn't do it.
Right.
So Bob hired a previous caddy that he'd worked with in the past for that week. Anyway, once that week's done, he's like, right, I need a bit of a refresh. I need something to kind of kickstart this US journey. And apparently his dad wasn't the first person he asked. He asked quite a few people. And last Saturday night, Bob rang his dad and said, hey, listen, do you mind coming over to Canada and caddying for me this week? I'm really struggling to get anyone. And the next morning he was on a flight over to Canada and caddy for him, and they've won.
And that's what, well, it's funny though, isn't it? Because we've mentioned, it's a crazy story, but we've mentioned before how obviously, I think it was only a couple of podcasts ago, how many jobs a caddy has on the golf course, and ultimately carrying the golf bag is probably the lowest in priority. Anybody can do that. And there was actually a fan this week for CT Pan. Did you see that? His caddy it's Fluffy's caddy, I believe.
Fluffy
he fell
slipped down a hill.
So a random fan came and caddied, and I'm guessing his job literally would have been to carry the golf bag.
I think it was only for 2 holes to win the fair.
Quite a good story. But obviously something like Bob MacIntyre having his dad on the bag, he'll probably know his game as well as anybody, you'd imagine, obviously. But having that person that you know almost better than anybody on your golf bag and chatting about things other than probably the round of golf, it does offer so much, doesn't it? Now, that wouldn't be something that you'd imagine would work longer term, I guess. But I'm kind of surprised by it, but also not surprised by it. Another thing as well I saw that's quite a sad thing, but a quote from earlier on in the week from Bob MacIntyre, and he was talking about obviously Grayson Murray and the awful news that he took his own life. And this is what obviously the Bob said: "It's taken my mind completely off the game of golf. After news of last week, there are things a lot bigger than the game of golf." And I guess for Bob, hearing that, terrible news and having his dad on the golf bag and having that mindset that, even for a professional golfer, there are so many things in life so much more important than playing the game of golf. Whether that unlocked a different kind of mindset for him, and obviously it has, and it's worked.
Talking about age as well, I think, no disrespect, he looks a little bit old. He's actually 27.
Yeah.
He's actually quite young, really.
He feels somebody that, they said, to some degree can go under the radar a bit, but also can be very easy to kind of root for. Yeah. He feels very much like the guy next door.
Well, he did well at the PGA Championship. He was right up there, like knocking on the door. He's obviously gone into this week with a new strategy. I think from what I understand, his dad kind of kept him on his toes a little bit more and asked the more hard-hitting questions, maybe that caddies don't always want to ask. Or, I feel like your parent or someone in your family knows when to ask you certain questions and how you're going to react, and maybe sometimes asking certain questions to get a reaction out of you. That can also be a factor as well. But it's great to see that he's got his maiden win, his first year on the PGA Tour. I'm sure I heard on the coverage last night, he's the 8th rookie to win this year.
Wow.
It's quite crazy, isn't it?
Is that right? 8?
Apparently so. Now, I don't know if I misinterpreted that as if it's like the 8th winner who had been on tour this year, or the 8th first time winner.
I think you're right, 8th first time winner.
It was kind of quite late.
Who was the guy? Oh God, that won the other week when Scotty came second.
Don't know.
Oh, that's going to annoy me. The week before the PGA.
The Charles Schwab?
I think it was.
D. Riley?
Yes. I don't think he'd won before.
Riley,
I don't think he'd won before.
You know what? Genuinely, there's so many new names on the leaderboard of the PGA Tour that if you don't watch for a period of time...
Oh, you can easily
not know who some of these people are. And all due respect, like, even when you look at the leaderboard from last night, like, it's a stacked leaderboard, don't get me wrong. But there's a lot of names on there you go, oh, I don't really know a lot of these, who a lot of these are.
Well, there's a lot of names as well. Now I'm looking at the leaderboard of golfers that if you're into your golf and you watch week in, week out, of course you know who they are. But then there's also names, the same people who, if you're very, very casual, like, for example, I'm looking at Aaron Rai. Like, if you're into your golf, and certainly if you're English, you probably know full well who Aaron Rai is. Very competitive on the PGA Tour. He's coached, or what, is he still coached by Me and My Golf? Yeah. Who a lot of people will know, obviously, from YouTube. He came tied 14th. He does very well consistently, it seems to. But, yeah, you could easily meet someone who's a 7 handicap golfer who doesn't know who he is. But what's really interesting as well for Robert MacIntyre is he has done the dream, if you like, of last year doing well on the DP World Tour, getting that card to get onto the PGA Tour, and now winning his first season. So, I mean, again, does this strengthen the story from the DP World Tour in a sense of that is now the pathway, or does it again just prove even deeper that the DP World Tour now is really a glorified feeder tour to the PGA Tour?
Well, it is. And, I made some notes even quite rare for me, but made some notes before this podcast, and it's the tournament that I kind of looked at and I was like, I don't really know what we're going to talk about. Laurie Cantor won the DP World Tour this week, who has had a mixed last few years. He started playing Live and then he kind of got dropped, and now he's a reserve player for Live, and now he's going and winning a DP World Tour. Does that mean now that he's secured his card, it doesn't need to go and play Live, or does he, you know, I don't know what his future looks like, but you're right, it feels like the DP World Tour has really, really dropped off. It's dropped off my radar. I've got to be honest. It really has. I feel like, you know, every event now, unless it is a flagship event or a co-sanctioned event, or, you know, certainly there's probably 3 or 4 DP World events, Tour events that I don't want to miss, like the Wentworth event, the PGA Championship at Wentworth, the Dubai Classic, Scottish Open. I'm now starting to struggle. Do you get what I mean? There's not that many that really stand out to me. Even all due respect to the British Masters that gets played at the Belfry, it's down the road from us. We've been to the event. It doesn't hold that much stature in the game of golf much anymore, and that's a shame to say, because I remember not only a few years ago when the British Masters was actually hosted by a lot of these European Tour players. British Masters seemed like a massive event. But yeah, it was a fantastic story. I didn't watch loads and loads, but I watched enough of Bob's final round. He was 5 shots ahead with like 8 holes to play, and I thought, oh, he's cruising here, and all of a sudden that gap got smaller and smaller and smaller, where in fact I think he won by 1 in the end. Also, I did keep an eye on the US Open,
Women's US Open?
Yeah, why am I getting this so confused here? The Women's US Open. What a fascinating event that was. I mean, I think first it came to most people's radar when Lexi Thompson, at the start of the week, decided to retire from professional golf at the end of this year. Came out of nowhere. 29 years old, had great history in the game. Feels like she has literally been on tour forever, and I think that's probably part of the reason why she feels like she's due to retire. I think she burst on some people's scenes at the age of 14. And she's going to hang it up. I'd love to know a little bit more about that. I'd love to get Lexi on the podcast and kind of figure out, you know, is it the fact that it's the pressure, it's the stresses, has, you know, the fact of such a sad moment like Grayson Murray taking his own life, where you're hearing from Bob MacIntyre, maybe Lexi Thompson, maybe a few other tour pros are kind of reassessing their life and going, you know, do I want to be doing this forever? Well, the stress and the strain and the pressure, is it getting too much?
You're right, but I think when you look at it, and Lexi Thompson is obviously a very kind of rare case of this, but you're right, she's 29 years old and she was born in 1995. She has been playing women's major golf since the age of 12.
Oh, 12 was
12. She played in the US Women's Open in 2007. In fact, so if that was the same time of year, she might have even been 11. No, she would have been 12. And then the following year, 2008, she played the US Women's Open again. 2009, she played 2 majors. 2010, she played 2 majors. But basically, since 2012, she's pretty much played 4 majors a year. So since the age of 17, she's been playing every major all year. Sorry, 5 majors a year. They're on the women's, obviously. But think about that. It's a long, long time of playing major golf and competitive golf on the LPGA Tour and the travel, etc. And you think, like, to most people listening to this podcast, and me included, to play professional golf is the absolute dream. Of course it is. But actually, it is pretty grueling. And the travel and, like you said, the stresses. And even at that elite level, you know, there might not be so many money stresses, but there's the stresses of being competitive, and all these guys and girls are so competitive. I kind of respect it in a sense that they're kind of like, right, I've had an amazing career, I've won a major championship, I've had loads of top 10s, loads of top 5s, I'm just kind of going to step away and do something else. I think there's something quite refreshing about that.
You know what surprises me with Lexi Thompson, though? I certainly think over the last couple of years, and she posts a lot on social media, and that's kind of obviously where I get a lot of my news from Lexi Thompson, as so to speak. I feel like the last couple of years, she's really been putting the effort in. Like, tremendous amounts of practice, tremendous amounts of gym work. Like, really, almost, did she know that this was going to come a couple of years ago, where she got, right, the last 2 years of my career, I'm going to really put the foot down as hard as I can and see what I can achieve. It was quite interesting. Did you see the Dear Golf video that she did on Instagram?
No.
So many years ago, it started with Eric Anders Lang, actually, as you know, but I'm telling the audience, where he did it's almost like a letter to golf, and really kind of, it's quite symbolic, really, when you do one of these. And Eric asked me to do one. I was at Royal Portrush a few years ago, and I did a letter to golf and almost thanking golf and all this. Lexi Thompson actually did something. She did a Dear Golf video actually on her Instagram, and it was very heartfelt and quite touching, really. So it'll be fascinating to see what she does for the rest of her year. Hopefully, she does pick up another win. I think that'd be incredible to see that as well. But the other big story from why do I keep getting the name mixed up? The Women's US Open this week was, I think everyone really felt like they were just going to be handing the trophy to Nelly Korda this week. Her run over the last, this year has been...
She's won 6 out of 7, it is.
Or it's 7 out of 8, or something astronomical.
6 out of 7.
Astronomical. Her golf at the moment has just been out of this world. And really, I reckon a lot of the ladies going into that tournament were like, well, we're just playing for second place. On the first day, on the 12th hole of par 3, she walks off with a 10.
Yep.
And I actually think that might have been her third hole, because I think she started on the back 9. Comes off with a 10.
Yeah, and it was one of those things, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, and to watch it, it's kind of like, it's a horrible thing to watch, but it also, in a bizarre way, was quite refreshing to see that somebody as dominant as that, and quite literally the best women's golfer on the planet by a country mile, can have a blow-up hole like that. And again, not that we want to see that in these tournaments, it was heartbreaking to see it, and obviously the tournament slipped away from her straight away, but... how if you're an average golfer and you're playing a Saturday medal or a Wednesday midweek comp and you have a 10 or a 12 or even a 15, it just shows that it can happen to anybody. So yeah, it was kind of like, it was a horrible thing to watch, but it just makes us realise how hard this sport is, that those things can happen to the absolute elite of the elite. So maybe, you know, puts it into perspective for us kind of mere mortals, that if you do have a bad round or a bad hole, it isn't the end of the world. It can happen to anybody. And
I'm sure after that happened, a lot of the lady golfers were right, come on, it's ours to win now. And Yuka Sasso took the victory. And actually, I ended up tuning in to... listen, I didn't tune into every shot, but quite a decent amount, certainly in the final day. And she was very amount of little people who were under par. I think it might have even been 2 or 3 people under par, and everyone else dropped off. A real surprise one, Minjee Lee. She was doing incredibly well leading into the final round, and shoots an 8 over, which is so uncharacteristic of her. But yeah, Yuka Sasso ended up shooting 2 under. There was actually quite a few players under par, but not loads, and took the victory. It was fascinating. I thought she swung it so good. And 25 years old, major winner now, 2-time major winner, sorry. Yeah, exciting times for ladies golf.
Speaking of swinging it well and exciting times, I played golf myself last week.
Oof.
So, as you know, Rick, but I'll tell you if you didn't know, and tell the audience, I went to the Maddison Golf Day, which is the golf day of James Maddison, professional footballer who plays for Tottenham Hotspur and England. I went last year and I went this year. You were invited both times, Rick. Last year you couldn't make it. I can't remember why. There was something on.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just not a Tottenham fan. On silly signs for Manchester United, my allegiance will be only for Manchester United players.
You well know that you love your football so much, obviously, that you're that strong of an alliance to Man United. You wouldn't step foot there. There were some Man United legends there, though.
In all seriousness, we'll come on to why I wasn't there in a minute, but there was a reason.
Yeah, there was I can't remember. The reason this time you were filming. Yes. It was a big video that you couldn't miss. And then I can't remember what it was. Like, there was something, was it a family holiday or something last time?
It was along the time where
it was October last year.
I travelled a lot.
Yes.
And it was on a Sunday last time, if I'm not mistaken.
I actually can't remember. It might have been.
Sure, it was on a Sunday. And it would have meant me literally bending over backwards to try and get to that day, which unfortunately I had to reject. But you went both times.
I went both times, and for anyone certainly in the UK listening, I'm sure you're fully aware, as I said, who James is. If you're from the United States, he is a very, very famous soccer player, and he is an avid golfer, watches all the videos, watches loads of golf on YouTube, and he's a decent player by all accounts. So he has a golf day with the real purpose of bringing loads of people together and raising a fortune. And this year, the charity was Noah's Ark Children's Hospice in London. And there was a really kind of moving video that was played in the kind of presentation, and the CEO, I believe she was, of Noah's Ark Children's Hospice was there giving us a talk, and it was really kind of eye-opening and inspiring, and it kind of, it did make you realise as though this day was a great laugh and it was great fun, it was for a purpose. And hopefully, I know a lot of money was raised because the raffle tickets weren't cheap. I bought some. I bought 5. They were 100 quid. No, 100 quid for 5. But I didn't win anything, but it was for charity, so it made it much easier.
20 quid a ticket.
Yeah. Last year I bought 1. This year I thought better. The woman came round. I was sat at the table with Michael MacIntyre, who, as everybody I'm sure again in the UK knows, is like one of the most famous comedians. And obviously, I don't know how much money he's got, but
you're doing all right. He fills out stadiums.
I was sat next to my partner for the day. He'll come on to Matty Cash, Aston Villa footballer. Again, he's got a few quid. And then it came to me, and the girl said, "Oh, do you want to buy some raffle tickets?" Now, I thought I could go for 1 again. And I'm not normally a kind of peer pressure person.
Cash only, or could you pay
you
card?
Pay card. I got stung by that on Beat the Pro as well. 20 quid to beat the pro.
Well,
didn't beat him. But yeah, I bought the tickets, and it was for charity, Rick, so that's all that matters. But I didn't win anything.
It's all right.
Not on any grudges.
You sound like you're really struggling.
I am. I'm joking. We don't get... Well, Matt, have you been paid the last 6 months? No, I'm joking. Pulling your leg. But no, it was a great day. But so what I was going to come on to, I played with Matty Cash, who said Aston Villa footballer. He actually plays for Poland. He's got Polish grandparents.
All right.
Although he's not going to the Euros this time because he's been injured and didn't get picked, I don't think, because of his injury. He was a bit gutted about that. But anyway, he is an amazing golfer. I said this to you already. He's a 2-handicap golfer. So at first when I got paired with him, he was off 2. I thought, all right, okay, I'm sure he's going to be a good golfer. He's off 2, obviously. I'm not that surprised. You get these kind of footballers or sportsmen, sportswomen who turn their hand to another sport. They're gifted. They can play well. They play a lot in the spare time. They get the handicap down, etc., etc. I was wrong. Not only is Matty Cash a 2-handicap golfer, he's from a golfing family. His younger sister has just graduated university in America. I think she's on a golf scholarship, like a 2-handicapper. His dad is like a 5-handicapper. I believe his brother's a great golfer. Matty's played golf all his life, and he was insane.
Wow.
He was 180 ball speed. We had a longest drive, and Cobra with a launch monitor, 180 ball speed, absolutely flushed it. Yeah, and he was a really, really good golfer. But it was a great day.
Best golf in the Premier League?
I'd imagine so, yeah. I would put money on there's no footballer golfer better than him. And certainly in terms of striking the golf ball, I said to him, and I said, I'm not blowing smoke, I'll be completely transparent. If he hadn't have chosen to be a footballer and he had progressed in, pushed playing golf, I think he could have made it on some level of professional circuit. Now, I'm not going to say DP World Tour. There's so many things. There's so many other factors, but his competitive nature... Obviously, he's willing to work and to practice, which he's obviously done to become a Premier League footballer. And the way he strikes a golf ball, he would have been very, very good.
If I could swap my name with anyone, it'd be Matty Cash.
I'd keep the Ricky.
Ricky Cash? No, I quite like Matty Cash. Yeah. It's a good name, isn't it?
Yeah, he was a really good lad, and it was a great day. There was loads of kind of footballers and celebrities there. But one of the big things from it was great to see is... If you look now at who was there and some of these amazing big names of super talent in different industries, how popular golf is becoming and how kind of much it can spread across different demographics. So again, you had Michael MacIntyre there, who I'm going to guess he's 50. How old do you think Michael MacIntyre is?
Yeah, I'm going to go 49. Give him the benefit of the doubt.
48.
Okay.
So you win. He is obviously a golfer. I don't think he's super serious.
I didn't even know he was into it.
Yeah,
there was a few names I really didn't know he was into it. Ollie Murs.
Yeah,
didn't know he was into golf. Michael MacIntyre.
Mark Wright.
Mark Wright. Yeah, I didn't really know he was dead into golf. There was a few others. I was like, oh, that's quite. I mean, it was great to see Tom Holland there.
Holland, Spider-Man.
I mean, he is seriously famous. Yeah. Tom Holland, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's like. Did you get a chance to see him at all?
So I got there a little bit late, which isn't like me. Early for my tea time, but late for when I wanted to get
3
there.
3 hours early for my tea time, but I wanted to be there 4 hours.
No, and he'd already teed off, and there was a couple of them who didn't stay afterwards. I think he's doing currently Romeo and Juliet in London, I think, at the theatre, so we had to get off early. So I didn't see him. But yeah, there was those guys there. There was loads of footballers that were there. Loads of them watched the videos, which was great. But just seeing how much, how cool golf is becoming. And on that, something we've been asked as a question. So I was also sat at a table with Cal Freezy, who some people will be saying, who the hell's that? Other people will be like, oh my God, what a celebrity. Cal Freezy is a massive YouTuber. Certainly, if you're a bit older and you've got children, I'm sure they will know full well who Cal Freezy is. But Cal Freezy and a number of other guys have launched a golf channel. Right?
It's making me laugh how many times you said his name.
Cal Freezy. Shout out to Cal Freezy. But basically, we got a question. So the question came in, and it's going to link onto this, from Daniel Greenoff, how am I spelling it? Greenoff? And he has said, what are your thoughts on the channel Big Wedge, fronted by your good friend Seb? already pulling in huge numbers. Do you see them as potentially as big as Good or Bob Does Sports? So, a little bit of background. Big Wedge is a golf YouTube channel that launched recently, and they've already amassed 155,000 subscribers, and they've had 2 videos go live, one of which had 1.5 million views, and one has had 939. And the 6 guys who are in this kind of group, if you like. There's a guy called Randolph, and then there's obviously Cal Freezy, there's Calux, and then there's Zerka, Mini Minter, and Rota Shaw. Not all the real names, obviously. 3 of those 6 guys are from the Sidemen.
Do you know, I think that's where we've really fallen down. We didn't come up with creative enough names.
What can yours be?
The Thinking.
I'm going to be...
the Fat King.
I'll be G28. That's my first initial of my birthday, 28. G28, call me. Just call me 28 for short. It's like a rapper.
It's quite cool, actually.
Yeah, 28. Matt can be... What can you be? What can your name be? Guns? Yeah. But with a Z.
Yeah, I like that.
G-U-N-N-Z. That's how I like it.
Anyway, I'm going to struggle with coming up with a name.
Right, anyway. So, 3 of these guys, though, are from the Sidemen. I feel like I'm talking to everybody as if they don't know who anything is, but I'm just in case you don't. Like, my dad will be listening. Hi, Dad. He's got no idea who the Sidemen are. Did you say hello to my dad?
Hi.
Thank you.
Mr. Charnock.
Thank you. That's his correct name. Don't ever call him his first name. It's rude and polite. 3 of these guys are from the Sidemen. The Sidemen is KSI, all those kind of people. Got millions and millions and millions of subscribers. Massive, blah, blah, blah. They have launched a golf channel. What do we think of it, Rick? Let's have a bit of a chat about this channel, Big Wedge.
Well, I'd heard about it a while ago. So, as you mentioned, Seb, Carmichael Brown, Seb on Golf, is also part of this. And he mentioned how the Sidemen and all these lads are really, really getting into the golf. Even KSI has been out playing golf, okay, which is huge, 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 huge. And he was talking about how some of them are setting up their own channels. And I think, was it Rota Shaw and Calix set up a channel first? Or Rota Shaw
there's
and
been
Mini
a couple
Minter.
there's been a couple
of channels that have kind of emerged and they've done really, really well. But then this one is the first real group that they've put together, 6 YouTubers, as you mentioned, and kind of Seb almost as this CEO role. Very, let's be honest, very similar to Good. They've got that kind of CEO role. They've got 5 or 6 characters, and they have been going on filming weeks. So the guys from Big Wedge went over to Turkey and filmed a bank full of videos, and those videos are getting edited and being released as we see now. I'm staggered by the views.
Really?
Honestly, yeah, I'm staggered. If you just said to me, put a prediction on the views, I don't think I would have said 1 million. Okay. Because again, and it's great to see, by the way, this is a good thing that these videos are good things. These videos are getting so many views, because what I was worried about, yes, they are big in their own space, from either gaming or football videos or buddies.
It's just generic
being
YouTube
on
to a degree, isn't it?
or whatever, right? I was worried that if they would transition over to golf, that they wouldn't bring the audience with them. And at the moment, I would say they've been a very successful launch on the first 2 videos. Yeah. I think they'll be slightly maybe disappointed they've not gained more subscribers. Mm-hmm. Not that subscribers is the biggest important factor in the world right now, but I'd be surprised with that many views and a channel that's so new. This channel could be on 500,000 subscribers by now, comfortably. I'm intrigued to see how it grows. I'm hoping that these 2 first videos aren't their biggest ever videos. I'm hoping that the next one they bring out is going to do just as good, or the next one they're going to bring out does just as good. I genuinely think it's good for YouTube space, because when you've got all these guys, and like I said, they've all got massive channels themselves. Even just looking at Cal Freeze as an example, his channel's 4.2 million. And a lot of these lads have more than one channel.
Yeah.
They do Goodfellas, which is a huge podcast as well. If they're bringing audiences that normally aren't into golf into the golf space, and they watch a Big Wedge video, and guess what? It's going to come up the next video. It's going to come up with a Good video, a Bob the Sports video, Rick Shiels video, or whatever video. And suddenly we're populating this kind of golf community that everyone's kind of views go up a little bit, and we bring more people into not only golf YouTube, but then they go, you know what, golf actually looks a lot of fun. I thought it was boring and stuffy. Like a lot of these guys we're talking about have a young audience. Let's give it a go. Let's go to the driving range. Let's give golf a try. If we're seeing guys like this get into it, or we're seeing KSI get into it, it must be a good thing.
No, you know what? I agree, and I think I'm with you. I think it's fantastic. I think partly why maybe the subscribers aren't as high is because I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people who watch those guys have had no interest in golf at all, never played, never thought about playing. They've seen these guys have launched a channel and out of interest watched a video, which is why the views are so high. And they might have gone, they might have hated it, they might have absolutely loved it, there might be some in between. I think some of those, obviously the ones who love it will subscribe, the ones in between might be like, I'll watch a couple more, and the ones who hate it might never watch again. But I think over time, that's that exciting bit of, can they convert those ones who are like unsure, who are a bit like, not too sure, into quite liking it, and then you should watching more, playing more. What it could do for golf is incredible.
They're not going to convert them all.
No.
But like I say, if they can convert a percentage of that audience, then that's only a really, really good thing. So, and
I think just lastly on this, what I really like about it, not that I obviously I've played golf since I was so small, I can't remember not playing golf. I know you're the same. So I obviously not saying I own golf, but I kind of feel like it's my sport and I feel a bit responsible for it in some way. But what I'm really happy about, and I can only really speak on Cal Freezy here because he was at that event the other day. I've seen him a couple of times at that event both times, is you can tell he genuinely loves golf. And I think that's the thing. These guys are doing this because they love golf. Without being crude, they're not short of a few quid. They're still super, super, super relevant. They're not doing this because, what else can we do to make some money? You can tell they actually love golf. And that's really important. They won't need the money that this can make. They're doing it because they enjoy it. So let's see where it goes. I think a collab down the line, Rick, is very much needed.
Yeah, 100%. Without a question, it'd be really cool to do so. In fact, talking about collab, there was a video that we filmed out in France with me and Seb. It's definitely worth checking out. I think it's the best 9 holes of golf I've ever played on video.
What?
And annoyingly, it's not on our channel. So we did a video with me and Seb where our combined score, he was trying to call it break 75. I said legally,
I saw the start of the video.
It's not allowed to happen. Yeah. So we call it break 74. So combined both our scores over 9 holes, we had to try and break 74. I played the best 9 holes of golf I've ever played on video.
Wow.
I don't know what it is with that. There's a few times where I've been on other people's channels, I've played better golf. Is it the fact that I'm concentrating a bit more? Maybe not as talky? I don't know. I mean, to be honest, on my own channel, it is really hard for me to play golf and hold all 3 cameras. That is true. And drone and do everything else that, the lads should be doing for me, really.
No bite? I thought I was getting a mic. Is he getting a...
Am I getting a nibble?
No.
Small nibble.
Oh, small nibble.
Here we go.
You know what I just realised, by the way, and you were talking then about being on someone else's channel. I had a dream last night about Matt Fryer. I just a second remembered it.
Aww.
That you were playing in the Open qualifying.
Yeah.
And we were filming. And I went to interview Matt for the video. So how do you think Rick's doing? And he said acting really weird and dead cocky. And he was going like, well, I think Rick... And I was like, Matt, stop what you do. I stopped the film. I was like, what are you doing? Just be normal. And he wouldn't be normal. I just remembered it just this second. Why would you about Matt Fryer?
Who knows?
It's not the first time, admittedly, but normally it's a bit, can't mention that. Can I ask some questions?
No, quick one.
No.
I want to explain my reason for not being at the James Maddison invitation.
Because you're a massive United fan and you hate Tottenham Hotspur.
That and the fact I got the honour and the privilege. So we knew we were going down filming with Justin Rose, and that was happening on Friday. On the Thursday, I wanted to get a practice round in and play the golf course that we're playing at, which I managed to do at Northants. And on the Wednesday, which was the James Maddison golf day, Tuesday, which is the James Maddison golf day, I got an opportunity, and I mean this, of a lifetime. Wow. Okay. I was the first person ever, right? How many people are there in the world? 7 billion?
7 billion-ish.
I'm one of 7 billion, okay? Which everyone is, to be fair. But I got to play an 18-hole golf course first out of anybody in the world.
Wow.
I was the first out of 7 billion.
That is pretty good.
It's really good. So let me explain. So it was a golf course in just outside London, about 10 miles away from Buckingham Palace, to be exact. And it's called Inspiration. It is a modern links in the city. Now, my good friend and the podcast friend, we'll have to get him on one time, Kerry, who actually ran for his charity at the London Marathon last year and this year. Kerry, who unfortunately lost his son to cancer, called Hugh. Him and his family own a couple of golf courses. They own the Shire golf course down in London, and they also own a golf facility across the road from this Inspirational called London Golf Centre. They've built this golf course called Inspiration, and it's absolutely fantastic.
I don't get how you can have a links course near the city.
You would say that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I am saying that.
Well, picture this. Pot bunkers,
Mm-hmm.
big undulating greens, fast run-off areas, riveted faced bunkers, fescue. What are the bushes called?
Gorse.
Gorse bushes. I always struggle with that word.
Gauze.
Gorse. Yeah?
I just say gauze.
Gorse. Is that right, Matt?
Yeah, I'd say that.
Gorse bushes. So I wasn't only literally the first ever person. It officially opened this weekend on Saturday.
Has Kerry not played it?
Never ever played
He's
it.
not played his own golf course?
Him and his dad walked around with me and they were like, you're the first person.
Why have they not played it first?
Because they wanted to give me the honour.
Wow.
I know. So we made a video. It's probably been broken now, but for a period of time, at least 24 hours, if not 48 hours, I held a course record.
Yeah.
I did.
You did?
Officially held a course record. Now, I don't want that scorecard to go up in the clubhouse.
No.
But officially held a course record. So that video will be coming out in the future. Honestly, it's genuinely worth playing. They've sold out memberships already. When we live in a world where I feel like courses are shutting down, not opening, it was nice that actually a new golf course is opening. The reason why it wants more of modern links, they thought, well, we're in London, to get to a real links golf course, it's quite a drive to get to the coast. Can we make something inland that if people come and play some golf course in Surrey or London, whatever, they can come to us, play a little bit of what feels like links golf. It's not perfect links, obviously, but it's linksies. The greens, some of the best greens I've ever played on in my life, and this is a golf course that's hadn't officially even opened.
You know what's that's very exciting to hear. What I'm interested to see, because I wasn't there for the video. I will be seeing the video very shortly, I'm sure. But for me, sometimes my slight criticism of links is that they're not. Some can be very quirky. Some can be a bit bland. But what brings them to life is the sea. Having this, like for example, there's some holes at Crail that aren't brilliant, but because you're at the side of the sea, it's like, oh my god. So I'm interested to see what a links looks like in the middle of normal land, so to speak.
Well, on the final hole, you've not got a view of the sea. You've got a view of the Arch of Wembley.
Wow.
The reason why it's links as well is it's really close to an RAF airport.
Right.
And you can't have trees. And you can't have too much water hazards. Why do you think that is?
Well, I can't have trees.
Trees or water hazard?
Water in case you need to land.
Not quite, but
No.
I didn't think about this.
Birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, birds.
They don't want too much bird life living.
Bird life.
Bird life. It's like golf life for birds. Too many birds living there.
Well, people's job isn't to get rid of birds near an airport. They have like guns and stuff. I don't know if they're real guns. They have like.
So yeah, that's right. I think that's also plays in the part. This land wasn't.
That's why you were there. They know you wouldn't make any birdies. Dinsh. So they thought, right, we don't want any birdies on this golf course, so we'll have Rick come. Pars and bogeys it is. Is a par and a bogey a bird? Because obviously albatross, bird, eagle, bird, birdie, bird. Is a par a bird?
No.
Well, why are the others birds then?
Because we're always on the hunt for birds.
Wow.
There's a married man for 11 years.
Could be a partridge.
Oh!
Gee.
What would the bogey be then?
Yeah, my bird knowledge is limited.
Imagine if this had never been the case and they chose the level of bird. So albatross, great. Eagle, great. Par, then like a pigeon. Oh, got a pigeon. Flipping heck.
Got a pigeon.
Oh, got a double seagull. What would be the word? But pigeon's got to be the worst bird.
I think pigeon is the...
So par could be a seagull, but it gets called gull for short. What gull is it today? At 72. Oh, I got 3 gulls in a row. Works. Oh, what did you get there? I got a pidge. Double pidge.
I actually prefer double pidge.
So what would par be?
Par's a gull, because seagull. Just think of the hierarchy of birds. Albatrosses, we love them, we want one. That's a 2 under par.
So, yeah, so eagle works and
Eagle
albatross works.
Par then becomes seagull.
Yeah.
We just call it a gull for sure.
Okay.
Officially, it's a seagull. And then a bogey, well, a rubbish bird, a pigeon. Ugh, pigeon. But we call it a pidge. Then you've got double pidge, triple pidge, quadruple pidge. Yeah, there we go.
We had to come up with a term for holding one.
Bird's eye.
Call it a fishy.
I like that, bird's eye. That works. That's perfect. I really like that, bird's eye. It's funny though. You talk about my game of golf recently. Okay, you just said it then. I'm not making birdies.
Joking.
I have worked out in my head, and I need to write it down. I don't believe I've shot higher than 80 for about 15 rounds of golf. I think my last 15 rounds of golf have all been in the 70s.
Nice.
But how do I get them in like the low 70s? Don't like asking you. I'm asking
less pigeons.
Yeah, make less pigeons.
I feel like my golf at the moment, and you saw it with Justin Rose. I won't give. Actually, that's going to give too much away. At the moment, I am playing some of the best golf I've ever played in my life. But also, every single round of golf, I'm throwing in 1 or 2 blow-up holes.
Welcome to my world.
That's not like me. If I could get rid of the blow-up holes, and the thing is with the blow-up holes at the moment, they like come out of nowhere.
The one that you did with, again, we won't mention too much about that round. The one you did with Justin Rose was a top tee shot, which is it's kind of one of those shots at the top, a bit like a shank, where they're annoying to hit, but it's kind of like you can get over it. It's like, it's just an anomaly, isn't it? Like
It's
a massive
so
push
weird.
or a massive hook's annoying. It could happen again. You know you're going to top it, but then your recovery out of there wasn't maybe the best. But
I couldn't do anything else.
no.
But anyway.
I have got some questions for you, Rick.
Go for it.
But no, I won't go for it, actually. I'm going to save them for Friday. So
Okay.
I am going to end this now.
Well, just a quick one for
Go
everyone
on.
listening. Some more fantastic videos coming out this week, and also in 2 weeks' time. I should today find out where I'm doing open qualifying.
Do you not pick?
You pick top 2.
Oh, right.
And then they tell you.
Well, that's one of my questions for you, because a question that I don't answer this yet, but a question I think needs addressing is from bear with me, I've lost it now. Oh yeah, from Chris Marshall. Is Rick taking the open qualifying seriously, or just trying to break 75? You'll answer that in the next podcast out on Friday.
And I've also going to answer something. I'm going to tell you a story on Friday of possibly the most embarrassing fan encounter I've ever had.
Oh no. Yeah, I'm excited already. Like, Matt, let's stop this one, start the next one. It'll be out on Friday. I'm excited. Can you tell?
I'm laughing about it already.
Right, great.